I don't know who's with me, but yeah, we had, for some reason, LinkedIn and YouTube didn't want to have us today, so we've had to go in on a different link. So we're here. So I don't know who else is ever going to join us. So I hope you can find us. So good thing is I get to play some more music all over again. So now I'm just going to do my little search to see if we're at least showing up. If I can see myself, that's normally the. Okay, here's what.
Oh, I got eyes in the back.
Hi, we're back.
Are we live on LinkedIn?
Yay, we are. Yay, we've got friends. Right, I can turn the music up now. I feel like we can relax.
There you go. We're waiting on Will.
There we go.
That's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me.
Hello, Michael. Thank you, Joanne. Look, you saved the day. Saved the day.
Can you hear freedom calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
Oh, they're all coming in. I apologise if anybody came in and tried to get in on the old link. It wasn't working. So thank you for joining, Chawinda. Thank you.
Before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line.
Well, I'm gonna show the chat overlay so you can see. Look, everybody's saying hello.
Yeah.
You might need to do a refresh, Mame. If you can't see me, just refresh the screen.
And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation.
Hi, Julene.
With the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up.
Oh, I cannot see. You might need to do a refresh. LinkedIn is very dodgy. For the last, it's taken us 10 minutes to come back and nothing was showing. And Will's back here as well.
Yeah.
So everyone can see us. We're having a lot of technical difficulties, but we're here now.
It's a conspiracy.
It is. It is. It is.
I find it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull
Hi,
up on my
Crystal.
phone, so.
Hi, Crystal. Right, now we've established, because we've now heard this song twice, because like it was just the three of us listening to music. Do you know what I mean? But now we're live.
Oh yeah.
Right, we've got friends. We're live. We're on air. I did the check. I can see our profile. Gregory and Will. Will and Gregory.
Hey, they're saying they don't see anything.
They can see. Yeah, don't worry about it. If you can't see, yeah, just refresh. You know the drill. I ditched my anti-racist union conference to join you.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Are you trying to say your union is a bit dry? Are you trying to say your union's a bit dry biscuit, Joanne? Is that what? Because you know I'm not dry biscuit. You. Oh, Lord have mercy, I love that. I love that.
So, Shereen, are you always this lively, or just on Fridays?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly. But you know what's really funny? I am actually, I know you won't believe this, but I am a little bit introverted. I know it's very weird to believe, but I think there's something about the fact that when I do this, because you see, I'm one of these people that sometimes I get my energy from people and sometimes I don't. So doing video and all of this sort of stuff means I can like silence in a weird way. I know it's very strange, but the silence of it all energizes me. So it's probably why I can maintain a certain level of exuberance, I think is the word. Do you know what I mean? Wow. I think so.
Okay.
That's how I can explain it. So I'm so excited to have you both. I've been looking forward to this.
Us too.
I hope you're ready, man. I hope you're ready.
Born ready. Gregory,
You're on
you
ready?
know what?
Born ready. All right.
If you stay ready, you never have to get ready. So I'm always ready.
Oh, okay. That's deep.
There you go.
That's deep.
That's deep
that's
right there.
I thought that's what I'll kick us off with. So yes, so since we like when did we connect? A couple of weeks ago, properly, I mean,
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes. And Gregory and we connected in June of last year before I got my LinkedIn Live license.
Yeah. You're licensed to kill now.
I know. This is probably why we were blocked. I was probably blocked for the first 10 minutes. They were probably like, do we let her through? Do we let her through? But yes, so we connected. Yeah, 9 months ago. And I remember saying to you, oh, we should circle back. I've just applied for my LinkedIn Live license. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. And look where we are.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. These things take time, they take time, things to mature and kind of have a little bit of, little spin of growth on there, and perfect timing for everything. I mean, it's perfect
Absolutely.
timing.
Yeah.
It's perfect timing. So before we even get into why I'm very gassed to have you both, do you want to just do a little bit of an introduction, explain who you are, and then I've got my hot water because I'm just going to sit and listen to the two of you talk. I've been literally looking forward to this all week. Do you know what I mean? I did a great live with Moni on Tuesday. We were like hyped, talking about all sorts of stuff. Listen, we literally had to kick ourselves off air because we were like, look, this is getting ridiculous. We're talking about nonsense. Nobody wants to listen to that. And then everyone was like, we feel like this is the after party. That's what it felt like. So I've been ready. So
cool.
this I'm just looking forward to listening to the two of you. But before I explain why, I'm gonna let you both introduce yourselves.
All right. Well, we'll keep it under 30 seconds.
Absolutely. You want me to go first? I will.
Go ahead.
Mine's
Will.
From Will Sims, founder of TrueSpot Technologies. TrueSpot is a company that I started back in 2018. It's a company that originally started doing with spot measurement or football measurement in a game of American football, right? As far as the yardsticks and all that, being able to measure first down. So wanted to bring that in through the form of a mobile app to bring people initially down on the football field with the referees to be able to see that. That's how the company started. I developed that technology.
Just because I am a little bit of a tech head, right? So some people you can just glance across the set. Like explain this to me, right? So you've got the line, the yard line. So what does your technology do? Because I love this. So this is my world now. So come, give me more. Don't forget those people who were just like, oh yeah, that's really nice. What is it? Tell me.
Well, in the American game of football, right? Sometimes there's a call where with each play, the goal is to go 10 yards for each first down to achieve the first down. So if there's a question that reference the actual football made it to the initial 10 yards, they bring out the yardsticks. If you see the two officials run out on the field with the 2 yardsticks, with the chain and all that. So what the technology does, it does that through the AR augmented version as far as being able to measure that and being able to eventually remove the chains. So imagine a referee on the field having a handheld device or whatever and scanning the football and actually seeing if the football hit the actual 10-yard line marker without the use of the chains. But being also the fans in the stands or at home being able to look at that real time.
So they can see what the referee's seeing.
That's correct. That's it. So that, in addition to that, my other background, I'm an HR executive, corporate executive for about 25 years. So we have something in common there for sure.
We do. I love how this is hilarious. I love how your background is HR and then you founded a tech company.
That's correct.
Okay.
And
my background is HR and I pretty much live for video and live and all of that good stuff. Not two professions you would have ordinarily grouped together with HR. No disrespect to my HR brothers and sisters. I'm just saying because we don't. Our profession does not have a reputation to be the light and soul of a party. Do you know what I mean? We don't have that. We're not the sexy department from that point of view. But look at us with our little sexy careers.
And when employees when they're being summoned to HR, right? they get all nervous and all that. But HR is not a bad thing. I've always tried to put my employees at ease. HR is here to help you, not necessarily. It's not always a disciplinary thing, right? So that's also my background in HR. But also, I do a little bit of independent film, right? I had many years ago, I had a movie that was on CBS here in the States that won 3 regional Emmy Awards at the time. And in addition to that,
you're just like a Pandora's box of talent.
Yeah, so I guess you could say I have an entrepreneurial spirit, right? So
and a creative one.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So that's what But since about 2018, I've been just really focusing on TruthSpot. Let the HR side go until we really get this thing up and running. So and so that's kind of like my story. Now I hand it over to Greg. I got to warn you now, Greg, in his next career, he's going to be a politician. So he got a long-winded. So you need to cut him off if you have to.
Look how your co-founder is setting you up, Gregory, for failure. Because basically what he's telling me is I've got to interrupt you talking. Well, do you know what, Gregory? This is your time now. This is your you talk. You say what you've got to say. Tell the people.
Will is never modest when he introduces me. And it's been that way. Now I'm gonna take you back just a little bit. I just want to give everybody that's listening to us just a little bit of a glimpse. So Will and I have been childhood friends for since I was knee high to a pup. His sister used to babysit me. Okay, now I want to put this in the context. His sister used to babysit me, and so to think about. After all of the years of growth and success that we've had, and then our military background where we got separated for 20 years.
Hold on, you were both in the military.
We're both in the military.
Oh, yeah.
We're both in the military.
Hold on, so, sorry, Gregory. I'm going to come back to you in a minute. Will.
Yes, I'm sorry. I thought I said that.
No, this was not in your explanation. This was not in your bio.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
So where was the military bit in all of this?
The military, actually, probably right after high school or year of college, I went in the Air Force, right? And that's kind of about 8 years in that, and I was an air traffic controller for the first part of that military career. And the second part was I was a recruiter, and that's how I got into HR, human resources, and the recruiting side. Yeah. So, but about 9 years in the U.S. Air Force, so probably about a year. That's not bad.
Air Force. Then HR.
Yes.
Then technology.
Yes.
Augmented reality. So I'm not talking about databases. Do you know? Click, click, click. Right? Augmented reality.
No.
Then
augmented reality.
You've clearly got spare time. I'm going to create films, and I'm going to win some Emmy Awards for my films.
There you go. See there?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You just got to pull back his layers, man.
Yeah, I'm just a modest type of a guy, Shereen. That's me.
Listen, Gregory, I'm not being funny because I know you're fabulous too. So listen, this is not bad. But I just feel like I need to go home now. I know I'm in my home, but I actually feel like I just need to leave you two to it because I've got nothing else to bring to the party. I've got nothing. Just my red hair, sunlight. That's like I'm trying to adjust my camera. So yeah, I've got nothing. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, Will. Other than, do you know what? I know you probably will never take moments to kind of go, you'll be like, yeah, it's just one of these things. But in this moment, I just want you to sit in your brilliance. Oh, well, thank you very much. And no wonder you're the Oprah Winfrey of the United Kingdom, right? I've done my research. You did your research. You're very good. You were very good. Yeah, you just sit in your brilliance. Just take a minute. Okay. Well, thank you, Queen. You're welcome. You're welcome. Right. Okay. Gregory, more fabulousness. I'm not ready for the two of you, but I am. I'm ready for you now. Go. We'll talk to me. All right. So now that you've identified that Will was in the military, obviously I was in the military as well. I spent 8 years in the Navy and went on from the Navy to be in the semiconductor industry for about 14 years. After the semiconductor industry, well, let me just rewind 1 second. In the semiconductor industry, I hold multiple patents. So left the semiconductor industry and I started my first management consultancy firm
So in other words, I've gone from management consultancy firm to technology and becoming a war-renowned podcaster also. So, I mean, my dynamics are pretty vast as well.
Yeah.
So, you know what, everybody, this has been great. So I'm just to leave you to I'll just go.
Come back here. This is your show, Shereen.
I'll just go. I don't know what to say. So another, Gregory, so I just want you to also to take a moment to sit in your brilliance.
Well, wow. I'm sitting in my brilliance right now. Anytime I can be featured on anybody else's show and have an opportunity to share, my kindness, my sincerity, generosity that I have towards pretty much everyone, yes. I embrace that, Yes. So thank you. Thank you for having us.
No, you Absolutely. Are. Listen, you're super welcome. Like I genuinely don't know what to say because I'm just taking all of your rays, literally, and the sunlight that's coming through my window. I'm taking all of the rays. I'm just like, taking it, and I hope everybody is feeling that. But also, like in all seriousness, and I know we have this, and I know we shouldn't have to have this conversation, but
okay,
you know what I'm going to say, right? So when we talk about Black people can't do this.
Yes.
Black people can't do that. You can't go from this to this to this. You two are just walking like certifications of none of that is true.
Okay. Very true.
That's right.
Very true.
Thank you.
You know, so that's why seriously, I want you to sit in your brilliance for a moment. Because I know you won't do it often because you two are like, you got things going on, you got all sorts going on. So we don't often sometimes take time to recognize and therefore recognize that the impacts that you're going to have on everyone, not consciously, because you won't be conscious of it, because you're not thinking about that. The reason why you do that, you'll just be doing. Will just be creating and Gregory, you will be doing your sharing, communicating, projecting out to the world. You won't always be cognizant of the impact you're having. So I feel like it's my role, if for a minute before we get into it, to just allow you to both to just let that sit on your spirit in a positive way. You're brilliant. I just think it's amazing.
Well, thank you, Queen. We appreciate it. Yeah, we pay it forward as often as we can, right? Right, Greg. We pay it forward with mentorships and as well. So you're right.
Fabulous.
And we're proud of your platform as to what you're doing. It's some shining light as well, right?
I'll do my best. I'm a little something from Kent. What's really funny is when I talk to people in the US, they're like, so which part of London are you from? I was like, yeah. So you see, the thing is, look, I know London's the main city. I know everyone thinks everyone's in London. I'm just out. Train ride. Half an hour on the train. Southeast.
Wow.
Nice.
So yeah, nice. That's where I am. That's where I am. So listen, when we did connect, you two started telling me a story, and Gregory, I stopped you specifically because you started telling. I said to you, I'm not listening to you. I did. I said we're not going to do it because I said we're going to talk about it in the live because I said and this is why I'm really looking forward. So I want you to get ready to tell everybody because you did start. So I do have a little bit of a head start before we kind of get into how you two formed as your partnership from a true spot perspective. But before that, your histories had already intertwined well before you were born.
Yeah.
So look how I'm setting everybody. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, what this? I feel like I'm like the voiceover. No, whoa, their histories were intertwined. Well, before they were born.
I'm gonna say this. Will is really a better aspect of telling this story than I am because every time I share this story, because of how emotionally entrenched this is and the significance of our heritage and who we are and where we came from and where our founding fathers, and I'm not talking about our parents, but I'm talking about our great grandparents and where they started and how they collided on a trajectory that has put us to where we are today. I'm going to let him share that story because I get teared up every time I think about it.
Well, listen, I did, but and listen, everyone quite surprised because everyone thinks like I'm hard as nails. But when you start telling me stories of depth, this is the thing. Like this even that little piece that I heard, literally, I was like, I've just got to hear this story properly. Before we get started, I'm literally just going to move my camera because this light is like the one time the sunshine. Look,
yeah,
and I can see it. I'm not knocking the sunshine. I need my vitamin D and all that stuff. So let's not get too carried away with that. But it's just not the best when I'm trying to focus. Right. Look, I'll sit in the shade. Look at it. Look.
Sure.
I'll sit in the shade. Right, I'm ready.
Nice. Yeah.
Start telling the story.
Sure. It's just a great story. And Greg's right. It's just this emotional story, but it's one that goes back to our great grandfathers, right? I'm going to kind of set the setting for you. Greg and I grew up in a small town in central Mississippi by the name of Brandon, right? So at the time that we were growing up, basically coming into of age in the 70s, the town itself probably was maybe 10,000 or less people. But in the middle of town stands a 30-foot tall monument of a Confederate soldier, right? And in elementary school, all the kids take field trips down to this monument or whatever. And on one of the things in inscriptions that I remember as a fourth grader that really hit home for me, because one of the engravings, it says, "Men die, principles live forever." And that's at the base of the Confederate soldier itself.
Say that again. Anyway, will men die and what? What was the second bit?
Men die, principles live forever. In other words, the principles that they fought for as far as maintaining slavery and all that. So that hit home. But anyway, our great grandfathers were sharecroppers. There was not much jobs in this town, Brandon, Mississippi at the time. So they eked out a life as sharecroppers. Just to make a living, right? All the way down to our grandfathers and then our parents who sharecropped all the way until their teenage years. But just for everybody who might hear that term and don't understand, what is sharecropping? Yes, to explain what that is. Well, imagine working in the cotton fields, picking cotton, which is what slaves did back during slavery time. So even after the slaves were emancipated, there weren't many jobs in the South as well, other than maybe trying to remain on that plantation. You're no longer a slave, but in a sense you are, because you have to try to work on that plantation, and the plantation owner will give you somewhat of a minimal profit, right? So, but they would also charge the people that own the plantation at the time maybe a rental to use the tools, or rental to use a mule or whatever. So by the time it was time to pay out, the profit from selling the cotton, you made a minimal profit, or maybe you even owed the plantation owner something. So in a sense, slavery was over, but sharecropping in itself was like legalized.
So hold on a minute, just let me get this straight. So we have enslaved people who technically were given freedom.
That's right.
Okay. But because there were no other jobs really that they could earn a living, they ended up still working for the same plantation owner who used to own them.
Right.
Yes.
In
so
return
the plantation owner
for,
would say, to maybe stay in those shacks on the plantation, right? And if you work, and the plantation owner would say, "You're free, but if you want to stay here and work on the plantation, I would give you a minimal share of the cotton proceeds, picking the cotton. But I'm going to charge you to maybe use my mule to do the plowing. I'm going to charge you to use my whatever hoe or tool, right? So by the time you run out, even for the cotton sack that they used to pick cotton. So by the time that it came time to you take the cotton to the cotton gin, bring it back. By the time you pay the money out, it was just minimal amount of money that they would give to the inhabitants of that plantation, right? So anyway, Greg's great-grandfather, my great-grandfather were mainstays on that plantation, and even down through the years, as whatever. But when the people wouldn't have food, they would go out and actually try to get whatever source of food they could by hunting. Some of that came also, and I'm not afraid to say they came back. They would maybe go and visit some of the neighboring farms of the whites and steal chickens, right? Just to have a meal or whatever. And they never got caught, thank God. But that's the type of things that they did just in the community in itself, and it just passed down from one generation to the next, right? So it's one of those things that, you know, growing up in a small town, how far that, Greg and I, you know, our lives have been intertwined since before then, right? And it's just one of those things that, you know, like Greg and I, like he said, and just kind of fast forward a little bit. Once we went in the military, we rejoined after about 20-year, you know, absence or whatever. I returned home because my father felt he had some diabetes, and he had both legs amputated, and I had just went through kind of a nasty divorce at the time, and my kids had graduated college, so my mom called. I was living in Indianapolis, Indiana at the time. She said, "Well, you know, you're out of a job and you just got divorced. Why don't you come back home and help out with your father, because he's going to have both his legs taken off, and I could use you to help move him around the house because he won't be able to have it. You won't have his mobility, right?" So I did that, but I had reservations about it because at the time I was 50 years old and had a very successful career. And I didn't know, living in a small town, what people would say as far as moving back home at 50 without, you know, being divorced, being broke at the time. But I did. I put all that aside and returned home to help my mom and all that. So I brought the story up because as I got home after my father had his legs amputated, and I was kind of moping around the house and being surprised, just being sad about life. And my dad said, "You got to check back in." I said, "Well," I said, "Dad, I said, I don't have anything left." He said, "I'm just having a hard time right now." He said, "You don't know what a hard time is." So he said, "I want you to go into my closet in there and take down that shoebox that's on the shelf itself." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Just do what I ask. Just do what I ask you to do." Right. So I went in that closet and brought out the shoebox. I don't know if you can see it here. This is the shoebox there.
Okay, yep, can see
Forgive
it.
me, my camera fell off the pedestal.
No,
Yeah.
that's all right. There was just a bit of a delay. You can see it.
Okay, but this is and I opened this up, and this is a cotton sack. He says, "Do you know what that is?" I said, "No, I never seen it before." Right. And he said, "That's a cotton sack. And you're around here and you're moping about having a hard time and all that. I want to tell you, you don't know what a hard time is until you imagine being 13 years old and dragging that cotton up and down a row of cotton, dragging that cotton sack up and down a row of cotton in 110-degree temperature at 13 years of age." Said, "That's a hard time. So if I can do that at 13, you need to get off your ass, get out here, go to work, and check back into the world." Right. And that's why that day, you know, it's just one of those things that I started a True Spot. I said, "I'm going to make this happen. I want to do it for my family." I reconnected with Greg, and it was just kind of it's just a lot more in between in between that I missed. But you know, I get emotional too when I talk about it. So I just let Greg kind of around that same
Well, your sound
time.
is breaking up.
You know, maybe a year before he as well. Anyway, I just about maybe a year after that, my dad passed, and I reconnected with Greg and found out that he was going through something similar to as well with his father. His father had passed as well, so I kind of let him tell you about that side of it, and that's kind of the story behind you know, True Spot and me starting the company, 2018. So,
thank you so much for sharing that. Like,
yeah.
I'm just going to sip my water for a minute. That's what I do. We'll have to get myself together a little bit. I just need to I need to sip my drink. That's why I always have a warm drink. I'm going to sip my drink for a minute.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you, Greg. I'll let you pick up, Gregory. Look at me shortening your name, Gregory.
So, as Will stated, you know, the history there represents a lot of tragedy. It represents a lot of triumph, perseverance, you know, the ability to overcome a lot of things that, you know, we would consider today as being resiliency. You know, for me, every time I hear that story, it hits me right there.
All right.
Because as a Black man, as a Black entrepreneur, and as someone that continues to strive for excellence each and every day, whatever I put my mind to, it gets harder and harder and harder to leave your legacy, to put your mark, to put your stamp out there where people look above and beyond you based on the color of your skin. And when my dad passed away, I was stripped of everything. At a very successful company, I basically was, making 7 figures, people working for me. I was all over the world, even in the UK, working in the nuclear field. And when that period of time rolled around for me, I had to basically step back and really say, what am I living my life for? So I left the country. I mean, I left the country. I moved to Peru for 3 years, worked on multiple projects down there. And when I gained the experience, or excuse me, not the experience, but when I gained the strength to come back, face my demons, and put myself back on the pedestal that I knew I could be on, but be better at it, is when Will reached out to me and said, hey, I know you're getting ready to take on this job, but by God, I got an idea for you. Your mom tells me you're smart as a freaking whippersnapper. You understand technology. You understand business. What will it take for you and I to partner up and do something that's going to be so revolutionary, game-changing technology that puts not only the individuals that develop this technology, but it gives back to the essence of the fans and the participants in a way that allows for them to feel the engagement of the live event and the experience. And he looked at me and he says, what will it take? And I looked at him and I said, Will, I don't know who better else to do this with. Because at the end of the day, you've gone off, you've done something that I thought would never been able to be accomplished. And when we talk about, AR technology, when we talk about tracking an object and all of these different aspects and really being able to, kind of systematically really take away the judgment and the subjectivity of someone else's ability to say what's right and wrong, it puts you in the frame of mind to say, how can I put this all behind and step up to the plate? And just like you're gonna hit a home run, right? Just like in baseball, and hit a grand slam and never look back. And so when Will brought this to my attention, it took Will 1 year to go off and develop what he developed before I got involved with the company. 1 solid year. And so I said, my God, man, 1 year. I said, you must really, really believe in this technology. You must really believe in the overall admiration of what this capability can deliver. And so the more I looked into it, the more I researched and started to kind of put my own thinking hat onto this technology, I realized that there was something here that was so significant and so special that I couldn't deny myself. Despite all the other successes and failures and triumphs and setbacks that I've had in my life, I couldn't deny myself the opportunity to give this 1,000%. And so when I came on board to help him out, I said, look, I want to come on board, but we're missing something. And he said to me, well, what is it? What are you talking about? What are we missing? I said, you're thinking about tracking an object. And I said, that's great, but it minimizes the depth and the range and the scalability of what we're trying to do. I said, we can also track that object, but we can also inverse the thought process. And now instead of tracking the object, we're tracking the event. And so we would basically evolve the technology from an object tracking perspective into an immersion engagement event that would allow for the fans to truly immerse themselves into a three-dimensional platform that would be like they are virtually there. And we've done that. We've done that. And we've created this buzz. We've created this excitement. We've created this enthusiasm. We've talked to, you name it. I mean, I could run down a list of all the professional leagues, all of the teams, this, that, and the other.
Yes.
But it goes back to what Will said earlier. That perseverance, that sacrifice. Because I'm here to tell you, and for everybody that's listening, we've got so much excitement that is going on right now that you would be looking at the next two great multimillionaires or multi-billionaires, no different than Mark Zuckerberg. But the number one thing that's holding us back right now is converting excitement into dollars, and the fact that two childhood friends, two people from Mississippi, two people that have gone off and had very successful careers, barring anything else besides technology, and they brought something together here that people can't grasp and get their heads around because of the simple fallacy of who we are and the color of our skin. And that right there is the game changer. Yeah. Because I have made it a point in my life's work, because we've digressed and we've put forth so much effort and time into this. And when we compare ourselves to any of the other competition out there, they are second to none when it comes to us and what we're doing. And so I hope through your program and through other programs that we've talked to, that there is that one individual, there is that one person out there that says, you know what, this is a phenomenal story. This is a phenomenal opportunity to be able to do something so revolutionary that really gives back and brings forth the unity, the togetherness, the whole thing that we've talked about. There is no other language out there better than music and sports. And I'll tell you, people have to understand that when you're down or when you're up, when you're feeling sad, when you're blue, when you need whatever the case may be, that camaraderie, that feeling, that sensation, that overall competitiveness, because when you're sitting in the stands with your friends and your family, no one gives a rat's behind as to what you look like if you're rooting for my team. And when that latest track of your favorite artist comes out and it moves your soul so significantly, no one cares about what you look like. And so at the end of the day, when you want to know what True Spot is all about, you want to get into the bowels of what True Spot is, you want to understand our journey, then let's start thinking about where that journey began some 200 plus some odd years ago. When I look at that cotton sack, every time that Will shares that story, I'm going to give people that are listening the perspective of what that cotton sack really looks like. That cotton sack, if you're 13 years old and you're a skinny black kid and you're having to walk up and down rows and rows of cotton field, that is a 7-foot long cotton sack. By 4 feet that you have to fill up before you go to school. And you got to do it 2 times a day. And you're dragging hundreds of pounds of cotton. If that doesn't charge your soul, if that doesn't give you the movement, that doesn't really resonate to your core, that whatever you put forth, that you give it 1,000%, regardless of what it takes, then by God, I don't know what else. Now, I'm getting a little bit emotional because, like I said, it is one of those stories that every time it hits you to the core. And a lot of people don't know that about me because, I've worked all over the world. I've never shared this. So I'm giving people a little bit of insight as to who I really am and where I came from. Because ultimately, for us, it has always been based on our authenticity and our ability to do what we say what we do, and be able to give back. Okay? Be able to give back. Be real about it. There's nothing that Will nor I can ever say that would discriminate the fact of where we grew up and where we're born and where we're raised. Matter of fact, if we were poor, by God, we didn't even know we were poor. I still had a bike. Will still had a bike. We still had clothes on our back. We still had families that shared and loved unconditionally. They always put us first on the pedestal to make us be strong, Black, young men that we are today.
Right.
And I cherish that. I cherish that to the core because of the simplicity of that is where it all started. That's our DNA. That's who we are. And TrueSpot is here to bring that type of change. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's not about the fortune. It's about shifting the doggone narrative to get us back to unify for togetherness. And that's where TrueSpot is heading. Do we do that through technology? Well, hell yeah. Do we do that through education? Absolutely. Do we do that through giving back? Spot on. You know, sustainability, you name it. The technology is so versatile that every time someone's come to us and said, well, do you guys think you have the capability of being able to do X, Y, and Z? Well, yeah, because when we built the technology, we built it on 5 pillars. And those 5 pillars is basically very simple. You've got a pre-experience, you've got an engagement experience, you've got an interruption in the live event, you've got the live event, and then you've got some type of advertisement and sponsorship. It doesn't matter what you put our technology on. Those are the 5 pillars that it's built upon. And in hindsight, to keep it extremely simple, we've made it so versatile where it's like, hey, if you want to adapt it to football, you adapt it to football. You want to go to basketball, basketball. If you want to put it in the movie theater, put it in a movie theater. If you want to put it in a fashion show, you can put it in a fashion show. Concerts, you name it, horse races, NASCAR, stock races, whatever. But like I said, excitement to the world means nothing without dollars, without cents. Excitement. Go ahead, Will. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Shereen.
No. Listen, you remember I said to you, what did I say? I'm sitting here. I'm gonna let you two talk. I said that.
Yes, you did. You did.
Say that.
But Greg did such a wonderful job, explaining the technology. But I just want to bring it home for people a bit more, because I know there's people that say, well, Black people are always complaining about they don't get a shot and opportunity if they get passed up or whatever. But Greg and I were platforming and planning this a year and a half to 2 years before COVID even happened. That's what people can't even wrap their mind around, especially the major corporations and deal like that. So, but also one of the things that really hit home for both of us is that, and I'm gonna put the name out there, and whatever happens. We talked to Verizon Ventures, right? And Verizon Ventures is, they're have all this mantra about, we want to help people of color with tech companies as well. So
let me just sip my warm water again. Carry on.
Yes. So Verizon Ventures, they were big on, we want to help partner with innovative companies and people of color and all that. So I actually sent a letter initially to this guy by the name of Chris Bartlett. He's the head of Verizon Ventures, about our tech and us being military veterans, U.S. and people of color. He didn't hit me back, but he, I guess, a low-level manager reached out to us by the name of Michelle McCarthy. Nice lady. We went through the tech, and she was really amazed at what we were doing. And she specifically told us that, well, you guys are a bit early, which in the tech world is another way of saying that we pass or whatever. You guys are a bit early. Just check back in with us. So about 6 months later, and maybe at the beginning of the year, last month, whatever, we saw this announcement that came out that said Verizon Ventures is partnering with a company called YBVR. And the CEO within itself is not a person of color, of course, but their company is doing, as far as the immersion technology and all that through a VR platform with the goggles and the headset. But ours does not use the VR, we use AR. But anyway, we're doing exactly what they do, but on a larger scale. They got funded for the exact amount of money that we were asking for as far as investment dollars. So And there's one big difference between our founders and their CEO. And you can guess what that is. So that one really hit home for us to say, man, everything that we were asking for them to support us with, even the amount, almost to the T as far as the funding that they received, they're off and running now because they funded that company. And that company, and their tech is even, the CEO is out of California, but their tech company that does the tech for them is out of Spain as well. So this was their chance to, even if they didn't want to partner on a full scale, it could have been like maybe a mentorship or anything, or work with us. But we didn't even get a chance to even explain how our technology works with them. We didn't even get asked the question, okay, what is the versatility of your tech as to with the different avenues, the different things that, how do you see diversification as far as your tech? None of those questions. Even when talking with the young lady, the manager, and I'm sure, she answers to people that are higher up or whatever. You get those conversations where they don't even look at you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
From being a corporate executive, I've been in those many boardrooms as the only person of color, and I'm sure you have too, Shereen. Queen. So, when you get the look, or you can't, even if you try to come on, if you try to be vocal and voicing your opinion, then you looked at it as an angry black man or whatever. All those things. But I just bring it up to say we're living in two worlds in the U.S. We've been there for so long, and sometimes we're quick to see these companies put a person out there of color and head of a D&I department, and all that. But it's just to check a box. What are you doing behind the scenes? You know what I mean? What is there actual conversation going on behind all that? I've been on tons of D&I teams as far as trying to head diversity, but eventually, I want to be more than that face. We want to be more than just look beyond our faces and look at the tech. That's what I'm saying. That's all we want. Just people to just really consider the tech as to what we're doing. So.
Well.
Yeah.
So we're going to be stepping into my world now.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm stepping into my world because there's so much. I'm going to go all around the houses. There's no order to my thought process here because there's so many important things that you talked about. But while we're on the subject, because let's not even shy away from that. Okay. The other part of what I do, right? So I'm here, I do the stuff, I do videos, I run my own company, right? So we do all that stuff. The other bit that I do, vice chair of the Black Business Association, okay, for the London Chamber of Commerce, right? London is the gateway to the world, so with all of that. One of the things when I talk to people in that context, right? What I say to them is, do you know how much money you are leaving on the table?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how much money you're leaving on the table by not investing in Black founders, in Black businesses, in Black women, in Black men, do you know how much money you're leaving on the table? Do you know how much money you're leaving on the table when you approach this issue like we are charity cases? So like you approach us like the reason why we haven't expanded our business, scaled our business, done all of these things is because fundamentally we're not capable. So you've got to lessen your threshold to invest, to give support. That's where you get into how many, and listen, I know you guys will know this world well, how many programs are there for entrepreneurs of color to teach them how to pitch, to teach them how to do this, to teach them how to do that, to teach them how to do that, implying that by the time they've done all of that stuff, they still have an equal chance or a fair chance to go and get investment and go and get funding. And because of this part of this part of my life that I do, right, part of my professional life, what I can also say to people is when they're thinking, well, there's only so much money to go around. What's the statistic? What 2% of VC funding goes into Black entrepreneurs, Black owned business?
Let me correct you real quick because we just did an article on that. It's 1%.
Okay.
It's 1%.
Was I being generous with my 2%?
It's 1%. When you look at Black tech founders, it's less than 1% that gets funded. We just did an article with Sports Techie on that. Sorry, but just
no. Listen, because that's right. So this is the point. So 1%, I stand corrected. Thank you, Gregor. I was clearly being over generous here. 1%. So imagine that we were all sleeping up until the murder of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, right? They kicked everyone. Imagine everyone was asleep. So I'm going to give everyone a pass, right? We're all asleep.
Yes.
Let's imagine we're all asleep. We didn't know anything about slavery. We didn't know anything about racism. We didn't know anything about unfairness, injustice, nothing. But we woke up over the summer of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So when all of these organizations, all of these financial institutions, all of these hedge funds, VCs, everyone, angel investors, right? Everyone said, goodness me, it's terrible, the statistics, even though they have seen those statistics every single year, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they said, we are going to be part of the solution. We are going to commit to fill in the blanks, this money, this money, this money. Almost a year later, that number hasn't moved, right? And
Yes.
the point I'm making is the number is so low.
Yes.
That you don't even need to invest a lot of money to look like a rock star.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So if that amount is 1%, and I know this because I see I listen to all, and I'm part of all the conversations that happen behind the scenes. Well, we're still, we're using this fund to prop up this, and
Yes.
we're living off the interest from that. All the conversation. We're living off the interest from that, so we can't divert funds. We can't divert funds. What people also don't know is us because those of us who are in the know, who see all of this stuff. If I tell you some of the bullshit that's been invested in,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And when I say bullshit, I'm not saying because the product or the service is poor. What I'm saying is the threshold to prove viability is so low.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have consistent revenue generation. They're not hitting certain customer metrics. They're not hitting certain conversion metrics, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not all of the things that we are told that we have to be able to demonstrate. They're not hitting that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then you're hearing they're getting a couple of million here and a couple of million there. And to your point, Will, so when people say, yeah, but Black people are playing the victims, we're not playing the victims because the facts speak for themselves. That's why I get so annoyed. So you just tapped into my big annoyance. Well, you didn't even know it. You didn't even know we were going to talk about this, but you've tapped into my big annoyance. And I go back to 1% of VC money into Black tech founders in this example. 1%. Okay. So all of these companies, all of these big tech players that talk about supporting Black founders, we've got a question. I'm going to throw this out there, and my fellow friends that are listening in, I'm open to be challenged on this. We've got a question what support we are accepting. And because all of these same big players are happy to run programs to teach us how to pitch, to teach us how to do business plans, to teach us. But when there's money to be put on the table, we are still looking and there's nothing there.
Yes.
Right. And we've been doing these same programs, these same Black business net. We've been doing all of this for years.
Mm-hmm.
That statistic, that number, pounds, shillings, and pence I talk about, right, hasn't changed.
Yep.
Yes.
So even if I gave everybody a pass, because we're all semi-comatose before the summer of 2020, right? But we all woke up, everybody committed, everybody said this is what, Why is that money? Why is that funding not going to people who are creating game-changing technology?
Yes.
Because through investing through you and people like you, there are lots of versions of you. There are lots of versions of you in the US, in the UK, in parts of Africa, right? In Australia, all over the shop. There are so many talented individuals who have got more than proof of concept. You have more than a minimal viable product. But yet, it's like, no. And then 2 2s, as we say in Jamaica, you turn around and you go, hang on a minute, what's going on there?
Right.
What is going on there? So this is why I'm so deeply challenging of this. I can't even tell you. Like everyone's like, I don't know how you are so Phyllis, because I'm calling out on the bullshit for this.
Yes,
1%
exactly.
going to Black tech founders, and the same people that want to sit in a virtual room or a physical room talking about how they want to help people of color, how they want to help like Black women. We barely even get a look in half the like forget. I'm not being funny to you guys, but forget we're even less of the less.
Right.
You know, and what people
Yes.
also don't realize is even knowing the inequalities that we face as Black people, as global majority people of color, whatever the terminology is, despite that, we still have to jump through even more hoops than other people who have the privilege that we don't have. And when people say, but that's not quite the case, then tell me how come that number hasn't moved then? Tell me all of these companies that committed to reconciling the wealth gap, okay, recognizing the disparity in economic opportunity. How is it you can make these bold statements, but yet these numbers don't change? How is it they can make these bold statements about, well, you know, the tech founders, the unicorns of the future, you know, we've spent ages looking, and, you know, we would love it if it was a Black woman or a Black man. We can't find them. And you're there.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So, you know, not often I lose my rag on your behalf and on behalf of the whole thing, but I'm just calling time on the bullshit, because I'm like, look, at what point are you then going to admit that this is just a performative gesture for you? You have no intention of parting with the money. Well, then don't enter the arena. Don't enter the arena.
Exactly. Right. Don't step into it. Right.
Carry on investing in your white founders then. Carry on doing that.
Yes.
But don't come with your diversity talk. Don't come with, you know, we're committed to standing in solidarity. We're going to eradicate racism. If you are unwilling to put money on the table.
Exactly.
Yes.
And treat us with the same level of the low level of tolerance, right? The threshold to prove that we've got something. Give us the same opportunity. Don't expect us to go even more to make up for the fact that we're Black, to make up for the fact that it's more challenging and fill in the blanks, because that is compounding an issue we already have. So there's a double bind there. We're at a double disadvantage. We're seen as high risk. So we've got a higher burden of proof to prove that, you know, we can grow successful businesses. But even when we do that, they still look for people that have our ideas, but they look for the palatable version, the safe version, the version that they understand.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's it. Yes.
So I'm so glad we did. We had no idea we were going to get into this. Do you know what I mean? You had no idea I was going to lose my rag. You didn't know that. Do you know what I mean? You didn't know that. I'm going to lose my rag.
We didn't
I'm glad we're into this you know, segment of discussion, because, you know, it goes back to what I said earlier. I mean, we can strip away the color, we can strip away the cultural, the religion, the bias, but at the end of the day, you still got the one unique, you know, attribute that's bringing in, if they want revenue, it's bringing in the revenue. That's the tech. Okay. And at the end of the day, we're all the freaking same. It doesn't matter what you look like. And I wasn't brought up that way. It doesn't matter if I grew up in Mississippi. It didn't matter to me. Black, white, blue, green, whatever. It didn't matter. Because at the end of the day, I was brought up to be a proud individual and respect who I am and respect my heritage. And I'm going to segue here just for a second. And Will knows this story.
Yes.
Our ethics in our community, okay, as being Black community, minorities, we knew, our parents instilled in us from the time we left the house, where you guys going? Oh, well, we're going to go uptown and we're going to, okay, put on the right clothes. Make sure you got on the right shoes. It wasn't about the necessity of trying to instill, you know, all of the right principles and moral values. And what I'm going to say here is going to really shock the you know what out of people. For my dad, and I know just as well as for Will's dad, you have my last name. You will always represent me in the right possible light, how you dress, how you speak, how you walk, and how you talk with others. And at the end of the day, those types of disciplinary rules, guidelines, coaching, whatever word you want to use, that stuff resonates with us to a point that it doesn't matter what situation we're put in. We already know the game. We know the game.
Listen, because one point I want to make on this, so I just want to
go ahead.
Sorry, I got so carried away, everybody. I forgot to flip the chat over, so I'm flipping the chat over. You know, so you can see. So we're going to so people can see. What you're talking about, Gregory, is we don't have the right to be average. That's what I'm talking about. So I basically ranted for 10 minutes.
Bingo. That's right.
We don't have
we
don't have the luxury. We're not allowed to be average. I kid you not, we have a term in the UK called BAME. It stands for Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic. They basically group everyone who isn't white together and just group them together.
Wow. Wow.
So they will talk about BAME. And I kid you not, I saw if there's a few posts, and then now as a positive, and it's run by people of color, of different ethnicities, super BAME. Super BAME. And I just, when you just think to yourself, like, guys, please, come on. But we don't have the opportunities to be average like everybody else has average, which adds its own layer of pressure. And like you both, I am a direct descendant of enslaved people. So, your story particularly resonates with me. That is the first time I've seen a cotton sack.
Really?
It's the first time I've had any, what's the word? Any inclination, like visual, like that visually, because I don't watch any kind of slavery films or anything like that. I don't do any of that. But the reality of Black children, I have a 12-year-old daughter. She's soon to be 13, right? And I'm thinking about the fact that she likes to nick my makeup.
Oh, okay.
Right, so she's at that age, like she's all that stuff keeps going missing. Very expensive Dior, very expensive products, all keeps going missing. I cannot reconcile in my mind that she was the same age as your great-great-grandparents pulling.
That's right.
That cotton sack.
That's right.
So there was part of when you were talking, I know we kind of digressed into other stuff, but there was part of the story that you were sharing there, the experiences that, have been passed down, like that, and Will, all I keep hearing is when your dad said to you, you need to check back in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's you got to check back in. And I'm thinking, how many of us have checked out?
Lots.
We might not be aware that we've checked out.
Yeah.
And then Gregor, I'm laying on when you were talking about, being in the arena, literally, in the fray, like ready, ready to go.
Yeah.
Because you know what, I wouldn't be doing this if all of the stuff that I do, if I didn't think we could win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't mean to bump into you.
No, but do it.
But I'm going to tell you, we're going to win.
Yes.
And it's not about a win or lose, because when you look at the simple fallacy of the game of basketball, okay, let's just take the NBA per se, for many, many years, that was kind of put into the simple fact of, okay, it's a Caucasian sport. Now it's been transcended into everybody you see on the team is a minority. And so, the old cliche goes like this, and this might be a mic dropper, but if you want to basically give us a seat at the table and you want to understand how to play ball with us, my old friend would tell me, just turn on the TV, because at the end of the day, the script has been flipped already. It's literally been flipped. We are in every predominant sport there is right now. And the opposite aspect of it is that you may have Caucasian owners and you may have one or two, diverse or Caucasian players, but the majority of it is, hey, we're minorities, we're Black. And so eventually that sense of, capitalism, entitlement, privilege, whatever you want to call it, whatever word you want to put on it, it will change. It's coming. And what they don't realize, and this is something that I said in another podcast I was on, the opportunity that COVID has given us as part of a reset in our overall society and in our life has really changed the dynamic of what is yet to come. And I'll tell you, for the two guys you're looking at right now, we have already made this genre, this leap of faith, 10 or 15 years ahead of people, that is really blowing people's minds to a point to where they can't comprehend. And right there, that tells me that change is on the horizon, and we're never gonna stop.
Yeah,
because it's here. It's here.
And that's,
go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I was just going to say just real quickly. I mean, the idea initially from my high school days playing football, it's been 40 years in the making. And sometimes people ask family members and say, "Well, you've had this idea for 40 years, but you were able to at least keep it in the forefront to keep going." He said, "Why would you even continue after 40 years?" I said, "Well, I feel blessed in a sense." He said, "What do you mean you feel blessed?" I said, "Because I feel blessed because God Almighty himself gave me a dream, a vision so big that it took 40 years for the rest of the world to catch up to in technology." Right. And I said, that's why, because the time is now for what we're doing. And I got the right guy on board. He brought Greg and I back together because we're going to both need each other to trust each other as well. But you brought up the idea about the cotton sack. For those people in the audience there that may not even have an idea what a cotton sack is, go out there on our website. I created a little mini video, and it's entitled "From the Cotton Field to the Boardroom." So it's about maybe a 59-minute, 60-minute, I'm sorry, 60-second. Thanks, Greg. 60-second video, but it gives an idea of the cotton field in itself and what was entailed with that, all the way to the boardroom itself. So check it out if you can. It's on our website, truespot.ar.com. So
yes, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play some. I'm gonna play some music. Luckily, it's Friday afternoon. I ain't got shit else to do other than be with you two fabulous individuals, right? But we're gonna.
I love you.
But before we even get into some tunes, because I got a few, because you two did give me some lists. You were like taking things off, putting extra things in, but I got you. We did say sight, sound, music. We did say all of that. But I do want to say, because I know that some people like, the second coming. One of the things that I do want to just properly address, right? Because I hear this all the time, and it's like, oh, as Black people, we need to build our own tables. We need to secure our own seats. We need to stop asking for permission. We need to stop knocking on the door. I get all of that. Nobody's disputing that. Clearly, you two have created your own table and the big glass office, if we're going to go for that, overt, trappings of whatever. You've done all of that. But what we've got to remember is we live within the fabric of inequality and systemic racism. We cannot escape it. So this is not the case of us being able to go off on a little island called Wakanda. Yes. As much as we're all praying, praying for like a group of Black people to pull all their wealth together and like build. What's Akon up to these days? Because Akon's been really quiet. What's he doing?
Yes. right. Akon's getting it done. What I mean?
What's Akon up to? Akon, did he buy out like one country or something? I don't even know what. So we're all kind of waiting, right? And we have to check in. We have to be in the arena. Yeah. We have, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because you know what, it shouldn't have to be that we have to embody Black excellence. It shouldn't have to be that we have to embody next level resilience, next level tenacity, just completely next level.
Yes.
But we have already seen time and time and time again that those individuals who have power and privilege are not willing to let it go.
Yes.
They're not willing to let it go. So we can sit, metaphorically, all of us, right? And hope that they will be allies and all the rest of it. But let me tell you, the real people with the real power and the real privilege and the opportunity to unlock some of this are throwing crumbs, hoping we could just get distracted by the crumbs, that the real power is not being deferred.
That's right. That's right.
And as somebody, I've forgotten this lovely lady's name now, who was involved with writing positive, what's it called? Not positive. What did you have in the 60s on the back of the Civil War? Positive. What's it called? Affirmative action. Sorry, affirmative action.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
She was involved. Yes. She was involved. So she's a little bit older now. She was involved, and she was like telling me all some of these stories from the days. And she said, one of the things I want you to remember, she said, when you're feeling tired, you know, she's a white lady from Staten Island, right? But she was involved. Yeah. Fascinating story. But she said, when you're feeling really tired and, you know, feeling like, not that you can take a day off from a mental health point of view, but she said, I just want you to remember that sometimes change has to be forced.
Yes.
Through pressure.
That's right. That's right.
So she said, you have to recognize, because she said, I'm saying this because she said some of the rhetoric she hears now around people saying, you know, compassion and empathy and just treating people. She said, we had that same conversation when I was in my 20s in the 60s.
Yes.
She said, we hoped the same thing. We thought one more march was going to work.
Yes.
We thought one more public display of whatever else it is was going to work. And she said, you know, forget all them showing some of the stuff in the 60s in black and white. She said, we had color photos. So she said, that's deliberate, you know, but she said, that's another story. But what her point was, and she said, you know, when we don't check in, I'm using your dad's phrase now, Will, when we don't check in, we are no different to those individuals back in the 60s, whether it's the US, whether it's here in the UK, wherever, who hoped that people with power and privilege would see the light of day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just want that to be a little bit of reality check for us all. And I know it's not fair that we still have to grit our teeth and get on with it.
Yes.
But there is, I genuinely believe there is opportunity. I would never think I would do the things that I do if I didn't believe that, you know, through sheer force of will, you know, I'm here.
Yes.
Never, I didn't even think about it. I was just, you know, just like laser focus. Like it goes back to what you said, Gregory. If everyone thought about what they do and what they spend most of their time doing, what are you doing it for?
That's right. That's right. You know, the one point I want to chime in on the backside of what you just stated, you know, it becomes quite significant that we understand, you know, the one fact that we as minorities sometimes forget about, because it's always about the short game, but never about the long haul. You know, we have to also consider that, you know, what has happened back in the 60s to where we are today. But if we don't want the next 40 years to be the same, how do we start planning? How do we start setting our legacy? How do we start setting the charter for being a lot different than where we are today?
Because we have to. We have to.
And in a lot of cases, you find that sometimes those types of thoughts and thinking are not really being discussed at our own table. Okay.
Yes.
And when they're not being discussed at our own table, it makes it very hard for us to kind of, you know, really say we're not being able to put forth this, that, or the other. Now, you know, with Will and I, once True Spot is up and going, we've already said, since we've had so many bad experiences with accelerator programs, we've had so many no's being cast upon us. Yes. We've had so many of this, so many of that, and all this craziness that goes on. You know, we've even there's been terms that we've invented through
relationships
that are called hang-arounders. You know, we got people that just want to hang around. But think about this. I guess here's my point. Think about this. Let's just say, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because I know, by God, it's gonna happen, because we are disrupting the freaking market. I can tell you that right now. We are disrupting the market, and people are taking a presence at, yes, the two childhood friends being Black from Mississippi. But let me get to my point right here. And it is basically, when you do hit that pinnacle, and I'm not talking about just giving back crumbs, okay? If you happen to reach that pinnacle, it is about putting forth the tools, the education, the coaching, the mentoring, developing your own accelerator program so that people are truly fulfilled, that there is a deal on the other side of the fence when you go through that 12-week program. It is about grabbing someone's hand when you see that damn potential and saying, by God, you look like me, you remind me of me, and this is what I'm going to do. I don't want you to go down the hard path. I'm going to show you how to get there, but it requires work. If there were guarantees, and I'm not saying that, we're looking for that, but if there were guarantees put out there like that, when I was a little kid, okay, I was a little kid that says, this is the path. Now, I had a lot of great teachings, a lot of lessons learned. I admire the people that are around me for what they have instilled in me. But there are some attributes of growing up that, hey, I wasn't privileged to, all right? I learned later on in life. But if you were to take that as being a minority founder and you say, I am going to commit because I never want to forget where I came from, to me, that's almost the very first step to getting this doggone BS society that we deal with, inequality, this, that, injustice, whatever. And we can flip it on its dairy air and basically say, we built it from the inside. We're going to do it our way and not your way, because your way presents a highway for us that we don't really want to travel down.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going? I'll stop right there because I can.
No, but I just wanted to, before I lose my train of thoughts, right? So we will play some music. So I said we got time today because clearly everyone's found us. So they're all like, oh look, everyone's waking up. We were talking amongst ourselves for the first half an hour with Joanne, who was the lovely person telling us that we weren't live anywhere. But what I did want to say is, and you made a good point there, Gregory, is about we've got to feel more comfortable as Black people. Holding ourselves as Black people accountable.
Bingo.
That's what you're talking about.
Bingo.
That's what you're talking about.
That is exactly what I'm talking about.
I think so. I did see a word in here. I don't know who said this word, self-determination. You know, we have, because we're not comfortable in that lane yet. We're comfortable in like there.
Right.
You. This.
Yes.
Right.
Don't feel no. We're not good at doing that. Like we just ignore that and then go. They go.
Yeah. That's right.
And we got to get comfortable with doing that.
Yes.
Well, you got to check in to being able to do that. I mean, the hell with the perception of you shouldn't be in it. You've got to be there if you want to be a part of the change. And it doesn't matter if you're famous, not famous, you're sitting on the couch, not sitting on the couch. If you got a job, if you got a life, you got to check in to that. You've got to check into that because that's the only way it starts. You get to the bad seed by going to the doggone core. And by God, we got to look at ourselves in the mirror and we got to do that every single day.
Absolutely.
Oh, listen, I'm going to play a song. It's not your song. Before you get excited, we will get to your song. It's my song. I found it this morning.
Okay.
I haven't heard this guy's music in ages. Aloe Black. I haven't heard, and I love this song. I heard it this morning. It's right, and it's very timely. Right, let me just see if my speakers work. I don't know if they probably switched themselves off after all of this, thinking, "God, she's going to be ages." And then I'll show some comments. I'm going to scroll through so you can see, because I know you won't have seen anything what's been going on in here. So I'm going to bring some comments back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been suffering at a job in a world that tries to own me. But when I wake up every morning, there's an image of a better place. Yeah. Cause the harder that we grind, then the sweeter is the glory. People say I'm foolish. People say I'm blinded by faith. But if I run out of there, if I crash, I don't care. I'm gonna do it my way. I can make it through this. You can throw the world in my face. But the fear gives me life, and I swear till I die, I'm gonna do it my way. Hey, gonna do it my way. Gonna do it my way. So put me down, criticize me with your lies and with your parody. Yeah. In the darkness, I don't hide, cause I got pride that gives me clarity. But I still wake up in the morning with the vision of a better life. See, the option of defeat's just not written in my story. People say I'm foolish. People say I'm blinded by faith. But if I run out of air, if I crash, I don't care. I'm gonna do it my way. I can make it through this. You can throw the world in my face. But the fear give me life, and I swear till I die, I'm gonna do it my way. Hey, gonna do it my way. Hey, gonna do it my way. Every time they build a wall around me, I will tear it down and say I'ma leave my dream. Gotta leave my dream. Now, even when the floods rush round to drown me, I just want my breath and pray, let me leave my dream. Every single one of my, I ain't quitting none of my dreams. People say I'm foolish. People say I'm blinded by faith. But if I run out of air, if I crash, I don't care. I'm gonna do it my way. I can make it through this. You can throw the world in my face. But the fear gives me life, and I swear till I die, I'm gonna do it my way. Let me fly through the air, if I crash, I don't care. I'm gonna do it my way. Cause the fear gives me life, and I swear till I die, I'm gonna do it my way.
Hello, Black.
Good song, man. That was a good song.
Yeah, how nice is that song?
That's nice. I know my son and daughter turned me on to him a while back. You know, that's one thing we do have in common.
He's got a new album out. I found it literally by accident because I was searching for these songs that you were sending me, and I was like, and literally it came onto this. I thought, how fitting is that? I can't not play it.
Yes, absolutely. Nice.
Right, so I'm gonna say my goodbyes. Obviously, I do have one of your songs as an outro, so don't you worry about that. I'm gonna be like bopping my head because I did have a sneaky listen before. So I think the one I really like. So I'm ready. Okay. I'm always ready to go. Okay. But I do just want to say to the pair of you. So at the very beginning, when I said to you, sit in your brilliance and just accept it and own it, I had no idea you were going to talk about some of the things that you talk about. You know that. I can legitimately say that I had no idea. So clearly my energy and consciousness traveled ahead of time and came back to tell me that I needed to tell that to you at the beginning. And I didn't even know.
Right.
So now that I do know, I doubly want you to sit in that for a minute, like a duvet, do you know, to me, like a blanket, wrap it around you. You know, because there's going to be, because you know, this is why I do it, right? So people will find these lives. It's out there in the open. We're not hiding anything. I never have hidden anything. You know, it's there for people to see. They will find it when they need to find it. You cannot underestimate, you know, the power of your words, the story that you shared, the ferocity about you checking in.
Yes.
Right. And there's going to be so many people who, well, listen, I just want to say this. Do you remember when I had these two guys on my show? Yeah. Do you remember?
Okay.
Now, listen, I know this is going to come. So trust me, I'm going to make sure I've downloaded this. The audio is going to be downloaded. It's going to be kept on my separate 2 terabyte hard drive because that's what I need for all the stuff that I do. It's going to be a lot of gigs. I'm telling you, I'm going to be like that. Oh, yeah, I had them both on. Yeah. It's me. But making sure my face is like really close to look. Don't be cropping me out. Yeah. Don't be cropping me out. I was there. I was there. Yeah. You know, and I just want to tell you both to, you know, I know you don't need me to tell you this, but please go. You know, I had Moni on Tuesday. She said the same thing to me. She said, you know, I got you, Mama, because I was like, oh, Moni, you know, and she was like, just go. And I'm going to say the same energy, that one word that she said to me through the, you know, through the virtual airways, I'm going to say to the both of you, just go. Thank you. You know, there are many people rooting for you. Everything you need, you already have. Right? Yes. So all we're just doing is we just realign. There's just a few things that need to be realigned. That's all it is. It's a few things. I'm very confident. I'm going to wait until you send me the email that said, yes, we did it.
Yes.
It's going to be really simple.
Yeah.
We did it. I'm going to be like, yes, I know.
You'll be our first live interview. There you go.
Absolutely.
Will I? You just said, why are you lying? Are you lying?
I'm dead serious. Because
Yes.
you know, at the end of the day, when you step into the grand stage, that pedestal, the number one thing that I've always been told is you want to have those people around you that provide you with comfort, support, and security.
Yeah.
And sister, you got all that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I can see why they call you the Oprah Winfrey of the United Kingdom.
I don't know if they said the UK. I think they just said anti-racism, and I think somebody said it as a joke, and I'm like, I'm accepting it because because the way people the way people are moving mad in these streets, I'm gonna take it. I'll take that.
There you go, for sure. But
because nobody else is doing what I'm doing, because nobody else is out here really laser focused and comfortable to take what we have been hiding for so long.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not hiding anymore, Gregory. I'm not hiding.
Absolutely.
Good.
That's right.
Good for you.
That's right.
You know, but our small town upbringing, just know that Greg and I, we appreciate you even from our first communications. You know, you're just a genuine, real person, true queen, and we really appreciate the stage. And I tell you, London and UK, everybody, it's almost as if, Greg, right? We've been getting more love from the overseas, across the pond. We have our own country. You know,
it's always the way. Listen, we never know what's in it. We never appreciate what's in our backyard. We always like what's bright and shiny over there. It's like human nature, isn't it? It's human nature.
Yes, it is.
It's human nature. But I think, there are so many brothers and sisters, as I call you, particularly in the US, who inspire so many of us here in the UK, because I know it won't always feel like it, but there's the issues of racism is so open in the US, you can't hide from it. In the UK, we're still here desperately trying to pretend it doesn't exist. And that adds a different level of exhaustion, let me tell you, because it is so insidious and so covert. You got to be on your spidey senses has got to be tuned into the next level, because if you're caught sleeping, listen, so that's why I think I just like the openness of the US, because you know what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like here, we smile. We will smile to your face. To your face. So, and I think that's probably why you will get even more support. Not that you don't deserve it, but there'll be even more, because we appreciate just the openness. Because we're tired of hiding too. We're tired of pretending, right? So we see that's not the case in the US. It's not about it being perfect, but at least nobody's pretending it's not an issue.
That's right.
So it's just a different vibe. So I'm going to play us out, so you can stick around, and I'll play some more comments. Because this is nice. I love to do Fridays. I should really do it more on a Friday. Actually, I enjoy it.
I saw somebody ask our name that popped up in one of those. So I'm Gregory Proctor, and
I'm Will Sims. Yeah,
there you go.
True Spot Technology.
True Spot Technologies.
True Spot Technology. Yeah, they can go.
TRUSPOTAR.com, right? TrueSpotAR.com. All right.
There you go. That's it.
Well, I'm just going to play this. I don't know where you got this tune from, but I was just like, yes. Where would you
find go look at the Cyborg videos out there on TikTok and YouTube and everywhere else.
Okay, we'll find them all. Where we got that music. I'm going to show some more comments. Okay, look. So thank you, special LinkedIn news. Look, your name. Everyone's like copy pasting. Will Smith. No, Margaret. It's not Will Smith.
Sims. Sims. Boy, if I get called Will Smith one more time. SIMS.
I tell you.
Yes. Thank you. Oh wow. Yeah. Shereen, Greg. We didn't even get into Greg's his DJ stories. He's a DJ as well, right?
Is he a DJ? Oh, listen,
DJ
Gregory,
Cyborg.
You've got nothing on me though.
That's right.
I'm sure I don't.
And half the time, like nothing's connected. Like Gregory, I know you because you the podcast live. The kit to do all of this is insane. So like all it takes is one cable not plugged in the right thing.
That's right.
And for everybody else, they're just like a restart. I've got to pull this. I don't know what's connected to what, and then I can pull, and so it's a whole situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right, let me show some thank you messages. I just want you to feel the love. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to turn the music up and I'm going to feel the love.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Thank you.
Right, here we go. Right, let me scroll to the bottom. Let's see what we can see here. Look.
Hey, Will, that was like our first video right there.
That's it. That was it. When you dropped that, I was like, oh,
play it again. I'm gonna have to play it again. Okay, no, do you know what? Let's play Cynthia because everyone missed this at the beginning because it was just us three. So we'll play Cynthia again. We'll play Cynthia Erivo again.
Okay.
It's fitting. Fitting.
It's what?
It's fitting. It's
I
fitting.
just want to hear your accent.
Stop it. Oh dear. Look, read this. Read this. Thank you, Francho.
That's nice. That's nice right there.
Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
You will come back.
Oh yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back.
We hope so.
Thank you, Lisa.
We're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm waiting through muddy waters. You know I gotta make up mine.
Cynthia Erivo. I'll drop it in.
I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know
I'm playing the whole song. We're not coming off air until the song's finished playing.
might be one to fight 'cause I'm alone, and I just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Shine stars fill my sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home.
Okay.
Across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Do you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gotta keep on
Oh, I tell you,
Nice.
that song almost makes me cry. Honestly,
Yeah.
it really. You know, when you just feel it,
Yes, it's deep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This woman, I can't tell you how much I adore Cynthia Erivo, and you know, it's not just because she's British. It's not just because that. You know, I love her. I love her. I've seen her live. I've seen her in New York on Broadway in Color Purple. I've got the albums of her. I've just watched her on YouTube when I need a little, you know, she just, beautiful, beautiful soul. Beautiful soul, that woman. So, as are you both. As are you both.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And when things get somewhat back to normal, Greg and I, we're going to have to make a trip over to London.
Oh, I'm telling you. Listen, you coming to London, ain't no one going to be here because we're all ready to be, you know, schlepping off somewhere else. We're like, no.
Okay.
We're ready. We've had enough. We've had enough of our houses. Like, I'm tired of my house. I'm tired. I'm tired. We're all tired. We're going to go somewhere else.
Yes.
Oh, well, listen, thank you so much. Everybody who tuned in, who bared with us while we had our technical issues. But look, wasn't it worth it? It was worth it.
So. Good.
You know, I'm always ready. You know, listen, when you live the live life, you know, you get used to all of these little technical issues. So we just work through it. So, you know, thank you both. You know where I am. You know, I got you. I just want you both to go. You know, not because you've got anything to prove, but because you've got a gift. You've got something of immense value to offer the world and to people. You know.
Yes.
So hold on to that.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Thank you again, Queen. Appreciate it.
Have a good weekend. We're going to end the stream, and I'll see you all at some point.
Absolutely.